So let me start off with you. Because the more I think about it, the more I get confused. We've invested huge sums of money, and yet there is nothing to show. In a country where we tout, amounts invested as achievement and not pitches, this is our reality. Today, the much talk about AstroTurf, regional youth centers and everything, rehabilitation or renovation of Accra Sports Stadium, Kumasi Sports Stadium, Babayara Sports Stadium, and Cape Coast, Esipon, Tamale. We spent over $250 million organizing All Africa Games. And post All Africa Games, we still don't have a pitch that meets CAF requirements.
No, we don't.
I don't understand. What's wrong with us?
Oh, it's not all of us. I'm fine. When you say what's wrong with us, it's not all of us.
The country Ghana.
It's not the country Ghana. It's the ruling class.
Okay.
Yeah. What we have is the product of incompetent leadership, right? And for me, when you hear all the sloganeering of "we have the men," no, you don't. What you have are egocentric men who strut around like Einsteins, but in terms of their body of work, it stinks. Where you and I come from, the incompetence is right from the top, from the president himself to the last official. And I'll tell you how. When you look at the people that the president has appointed to run sport, essentially, so for the layman, the sports ministry is government. They run sports. The functioning arm of the sports ministry is the NSA, right? Yeah. So when you look at the sports ministry, you see policies and stuff that they want to do. When you look at the NSA, you will see the things that they are, you see the execution of those policies and all of that. So the people who run these two entities have to be the best of brains. But because we have dysfunctional political and wicked leadership, there are competent people around. It's not as if even within the NPP party, none of them can do that. There are competent people around. But unless you have a very powerful political godfather, you will not get close enough, or you will not be in the position where you can effect change. So I'll give you an example. And I think most sports journalists would know the name, Kwame Ampofi. He's the last regional sports development officer I worked with in the Western region. He's the equivalent of the Director General of the NSA. So at the regional level, the NSA bosses, they are referred to as the RSDF, the Regional Sports Development Officers. He made his way through the district level, got to regional, and finally now he's at the NSA. If you want a purely technical person who can tell you where you can situate your pitches, right, where you need to invest the most resources, he's the guy to go to. And I'm saying this because you need someone with that institutional knowledge, right, who knows the industry inside out, and not just some politician who's been put there ahead of all of those technocrats. So if we're running a fair system, Kwame Ampofi perhaps should be the NSA board chair or the Director General in a position where you can actually effect change. Rather, we've put incompetent people like Majid Bauer, incompetent people like Seth Paum. And you see, when I say the rot is from the presidency, Seth Paum was part of the previous dysfunctional NSA board, whose board chair got sacked, was removed from office, and then they replaced him. Before that post, he was the technical advisor to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. If you are looking through the line, the person who perhaps should have had some of these promotions is Kwame Ampofi, or someone who has had his career trajectory, right? So they have the body of work, they have the technical knowledge, and they have a CV that says, beyond these ideas that they have acquired over time, those ideas are marriable with the problems we have, because you have tested those ideas or those concepts within similar circumstances and they have yielded results. Because you don't have that, what you have is a situation where everyone does what they want. So, and I'll give you more examples. Because there is no central theme running sports or properly informed ideas running sports, you have a situation where every MP wants to build an AstroTurf in their constituency. It is not from their pockets. It is from GNPC, it is from Finance Ministry, it is from Sports Ministry. At the end of the day,
Or
it
Ghana
is
Gas.
taxpayer Ghana Gas. At the end of the day, it is taxpayers' money. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia often says that they've built over 150 artificial pitches and all, which is not true anyway. But assuming without admitting what she's saying is true, if you cost it at $200,000 per facility, we're talking about in excess of $30 million that has been sunk into facilities that are not fit for purpose. Yes, you may say the Adjungano one and those ones are aesthetically pleasing, but they will not pass any proper test to host any competitive event anywhere.
That's why the Black Stars can't even train or what.
Right? So you spend $30 million, and yet the product of that work that Bawumia likes to brag about is not fit for purpose. And so the Premier League clubs who can pay for those facilities and rent them so that you get some money to maintain them cannot use them. In the end, they are useless white elephants there. If you look at the youth resource centers, and I'm glad that Veronica mentioned it. If you had proper policy convergence, what you would have had is that the resource centers and even the artificial pitches, you would have had the youth in sports module that they were running. The people that the YEA claims they have trained, they said they have trained 5,000 people. We don't know where those people
are. Wrap up, let me get to Mufta. He has a lot of filler for us, yes.
So because you don't have competent leadership, you are spending a lot of money. And I think that in the last 8 years, Ghana has perhaps invested more into sports than we've ever done in our history. If you combine the $250 million on African Games, excess of $30 million on artificial pitches, over $11 million on the youth resource centers. Last week, we were told a certain man has got a contract of over 80 million Ghana cedis to renovate all of our stadiums, and he didn't do all of that. Because you don't have competent leadership, you will even if we spend $1 billion, you will get to the situation that we found ourselves in because they are wasting the money.